Welcome, brothers and sisters, in tune again with Great Controversy Warrior. In this episode, we will be talking about liberty of conscience threatened. And one may ask, what is liberty of conscience? And why is it threatened? Well, some have it that the conscience is a voice that you have in your head that's steering you to either do right or to do wrong, and or that the conscious are your thoughts, that your inner thoughts that you have that make up your decisions or the things that you will do or decide. So we come to the question, why is it being threatened, or why does one feel like it's being threatened? Well, we see in many news articles of a couple past years, like I would say 2 years, I've been seeing a lot of news articles and news reports of people being banned off of social media like Facebook and Twitter and the other platforms. YouTube also is banning people for the content of that which they bring to these platforms. So why are they being banned? You may ask, why are they being banned from these different kinds of social media platforms? Now, we have to see where this banning and this restraining comes from. And let me tell you, brothers and sisters, this is not the first time that we hear this about banning. Like in the 19th century was the first banning of human beings to be able to express themselves. And guess where they had the first banning experience? You won't guess where. They had this banning experience in France. Yes, brothers and sisters, in France. And I can't speak on the African nations because at this time, the African nations were nations that were not being developed yet as far as the modernization of them goes. Not that they were not developed, they were developed, but they were developed in the ancient civilizations. Like Egypt was already a civilized nation. Um, Ethiopia was already civilized as far as the ancient ways. But if we want to speak on modern times, France was the first nation that was putting bans on people. And guess what, brothers and sisters? It came via the organization, you guessed it, the Roman Catholic Church. Now, we are not speaking bad on our fellow Catholic Church members, because I know a lot of people that are Catholic and are very good people. They're devoted Christians. We are solely speaking on their organization. And I'm going to read a little bit here from the chapter of The Great Controversy, where you can find it on Google. Just type in The Great Controversy PDF, and it's a quick download. It's not a quick read. Let me say, it's not a quick read. It took me a couple weeks to read. It's like 655 pages. It's a pretty thick book, but it's a good read. You can find many historical events in here that go parallel with the Bible, and as well as it's historical in the aspect of like the Christian faith, and also historical in the aspect of, like, if you see what happened in the French Revolution, uh, what happened in the time of the countries of Christendom, when when the Christian faith became more modern, shall I say, and as well it deals into the the time of when America was being formed in the 17th and 16th century. Now, let's look into this chapter real quick, and it says Romanism is now regarded by Protestants with far greater favor than in former years. In those countries where Catholicism is not the ascendancy, and the papists are taking a consolatory course in order to gain influence, there is an increase in differences concerning the doctrines that separate the Reformed churches from the papal hierarchy. This is speaking on what I had just said. In this time, this is in the 19th century. We're talking 1500s, 1600s. So Europe is already being developed in the modernized civilization, right? I can't, like I said, I can't speak on the African nations because they were not, uh, they weren't modern in this point in time. Not saying that they did not have civilization or great civilizations or great inventions. Not saying that, just explaining that this is more in modern civilization times, era, shall I say. So here it's saying that Romanism, that means Catholicism, the organized religion of Catholic. It's also regarded as Romanism. So if we see here, it's saying that Protestants at this time, meaning Christian Protestants, meaning Protestants means Protestant of Catholicism. That's what Protestant means. You hear that in the Protestant? Protestant. So that's what that means. And it's saying that they did not have the same thoughts. They did not have the same ideologies. They did not have the same doctrines. So we see here that the opinion was gaining ground. After all, we do not differ so wildly upon vital points as supposed. It says that there has been little concession on our part while bringing into a better understanding of Rome. That means that they were in agreement with Rome at this time. The time was when Protestants placed a high value upon the liberty of conscience, the liberty of thought, of personal thought, individual thought, which had been so dearly purchased, meaning many people have died for you to have the liberty of your own individual thoughts. They taught their children, meaning the Protestants, taught their children to abhor popery, meaning Catholicism. Because some of these terms, some of you may not be aware of them or know what they mean. So I'm just trying to break it down for you. Abhor popery, meaning Catholicism, and held to seek harmony with Rome would be disloyal to God in this day and time. But how widely different are the sentiments now? How widely are the sentiments now? They're very different now, brothers and sisters. Now, this is just an example. If we look at Catholicism in today's day and age, we look at their supreme leader, shall we say, the Pope. Not like I said, this is a educational and critique kind of episode. Like we're not bashing anyone. We're just trying to give an outlook on how their system works, right? So if we look at the their supreme leader, the Pope, Pope Francis, if many don't know his name, just go look how popular he is. This person in less than 2 weeks, brothers and sisters, he had over 2 million followers on Instagram. Now, one asks, why is that? Well, that